We're going to open up the phone lines in the next segment, but right now we're going to welcome in a very special guest, Mr. Lewis Colbert, former punter in the 1980s for the Auburn Tigers. Hey, Lewis, how you doing today?
Doing great. War Eagle.
War Eagle to you. I think a lot of people probably know a little bit about your story, but first of all, just kind of bring us up to date on your life after football, how you're spending your time these days.
Well, the last 4 to 5 months, I've spent it out of the country with some business requirements, so it's great to be back in the state of Alabama and Georgia and being back at home. But since football, I've taken on a career in transportation, warehousing, and third-party logistics. A few years ago, I decided to go ahead and write the book on my life story and athletic career, and try to make a difference in people's lives that are dealing with handicaps and disabilities.
Lewis Colbert was one of the greatest punters in Auburn history. He was a first-team All-American selection by Kodak. He finished his career as Auburn's record holder for career punts and yardage. In 1985, his senior season, he led the SEC in punting with a 45.8-yard average. Now, Lewis, tell us a little bit about, I think a lot of people remember like your story, like I said, and just going back, I remember, and from what I understood, I always heard, Lewis Colbert had a club foot. But in looking at your book and looking at some of the captions from it, I don't know if that's actually an accurate depiction. Can you let us know about what your quote unquote disability was?
Yeah, I spent my whole career at Auburn, and for the most part, trying to cover up my situation for a number of reasons that I covered in my book. But the doctors at that time classified as a clubfoot, but it was a very severe situation. The doctors gave me less than a 10% chance I'd ever walk. My right leg stopped at the ankle, and my right foot was rotated 180 degrees, folded in half, and mangled against the back part of my right calf. And after numerous operations and surgeries, they were able to make it where I guess you could classify it as functional, that I could get up and walk around. But I had to have braces and went through a number of casts and just corrective things of that nature. And after a period of time, I got involved in sports. But it was a story that growing up, it was difficult. The situations were difficult. And I spent a lot of time covering it up. And it actually took me 25 years after leaving Auburn before I even concede to telling the story to the degree that I did in the book.
I understand that you did not play football until your senior year of high school. How did that come about? How did you, coming from the situation you were as a child and growing up, how did you come to think, this is something that I can do? I can play football.
I went out for football 3 years in a row, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, and all 3 times I ended up having to quit because of my right leg. And the 10th grade year was pretty severe. Ended up in a soft cast and crutches, and created a lot of stress at the time because of the injury. The heart was there, but the physical limitations just kept me from doing it. And at that time, I just wanted to be part of the team, and I became a manager for the Glenwood Gators. So my 10th, 11th grade year, I carried water bottles, chin straps, and blocking dummies. And during that time, I started punting a football before and after practice. And going into my senior year, I asked the coach, could I at least try to punt for the team? And graciously and by the act of God, he provided me that opportunity. And from there, I made All-State high school and walked on at Auburn in the fall of 1981.
What was the circumstances? Why Auburn? Why did you choose to go to Auburn University?
Well, it was close to my hometown of Phoenix City. Always been an Auburn fan, always loved the Tigers, always wanted to be part of the program. And there was a time there that I really thought that I had an opportunity to be part of the Auburn Tigers baseball program out of high school. And some of the stories I tell in my book is the stories of fate and things that happen for a reason, and educating young people about you just never know the situation, and you never know what is around the corner and the opportunities that can be presented to you. And ironically, my senior year, I was pitching, and my shoulder gave way. And as part of the story in the book, I was told that I tore my rotator cuff, but at the age of 44, I found out that it was not torn, and I had only torn a burster sac, which could have been easily repaired. So, things happen for a reason, and a lot of frustration, a lot of anger growing up because of my situation on my handicap. So I'm teaching young kids that, how to handle it better, or things to look at, and just obviously with years of knowledge and dealing with it, just trying to help them to understand that there's a reason for everything. And the cliche of the good Lord made you special is one thing that's close and dear to my heart now.
We've got Lewis Colbert, former Auburn Tiger, joining us here on Sports Call this afternoon. He's got a book that he's written called Lewis Colbert, The Unlikeliest Auburn Tiger. Suggest you go out and pick up a copy. Very inspiring story. Lewis, you talk about hiding or attempting to hide, and I believe Pat Dyer wrote the foreword for the book, and he said he didn't even realize that there was a problem in the beginning.
Yeah, that is correct. And, Coach Dye was very instrumental in changing my life forever, as though he did for a lot of athletes at Auburn. One of the criteria for me to do the book was to meet with Coach Dye and to get him to do the foreword. And honestly speaking, I probably wouldn't have done it if he hadn't agreed to participate. That's how much that man means to me. But at that age and having, 18 years of living with a disability and handicap, I found ways to try to cover it, shield it, try to not make it as noticeable. But it was difficult. My right leg from the knee down is probably approaching half the size of my left leg, and my foot's a size and a half smaller than my left, and my right leg is the one I punted with at Auburn.
Well, Lewis, you grew up with this. You said childhood was difficult, and obviously, growing up, children don't understand how to handle situations like this. They can be cruel. You grow up, and what is it that's within you that drove you to overcome all these challenges and to have the success that you've had?
First and foremost, I think the good Lord had a plan for me. Secondly, I don't know that during those years I was listening very well because of a lot of pent-up anger and frustration. Since doing the book, I have really released all of that and kind of be able to look at it differently. But I had a huge desire to be accepted and to be able to perform like other athletes around me. And because of that drive and determination, I endured a lot of pain to make that happen. However, I didn't do it alone. And now I understand that the good Lord had a plan for me, and He was taking me down a road of adventure that today I get to experience, making a difference and changing people's lives in young adults. And that feeling is just, it's incomprehensible and it's hard to describe, but when you know for a fact that you have changed somebody's life forever, it's a feeling that you'll never forget.
We've got Lewis Colbert here joining us on Sports Call this afternoon. Lewis, I understand you not only played for Auburn, but went on and played in the NFL for a short time.
That is correct. And unfortunately, after a short career that ended because of an injury, of all things, the sciatic nerve in my kicking leg. And but I was very, very fortunate to make the NFL under my circumstances and conditions. If I'd have only played 1 year, it was a dream. But I was fortunate to spend 4 years there on two different teams with the Kansas City Chiefs and San Diego Chargers. I was fortunate to hold records with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I actually think I still hold one that for the most punts in a single season. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but punted over 100 times in 1986 for the Kansas City Chiefs and made the all-rookie team.
Good for you, not for the Chiefs, I would imagine. Well, we've got Lewis Colbert here, a former Auburn Tiger in the 1980s. His book, Lewis Colbert, The Unlikeliest Auburn Tiger. Tell us, Lewis, where we can get a copy of this book.
If you go to lewiscolbertbook.com, all one word, no spaces, and that's LEWISCOLBERT book.com. I totally own the book. I own the company that published or that shelters the book. It's not through a publicist or a publication company. All the orders come to me directly. There's an opportunity whenever you order the book to request particular inscriptions. And whenever I get orders, I sit down and do those inscriptions, and I personalize every book because that's how much it means to me. In most cases, people that order the book have a reason, or they have somebody in mind, or they have a situation that they're dealing with. And it gives me the opportunity to touch with these people and become personable in each and every book that is sold.
Well, Lewis, it's truly been a pleasure to have you on Sports Call this afternoon. Your story is one of true inspiration. No doubt you have touched many lives and will continue to do so. We wish you all the best moving forward.
Thank you so much, and War Eagle.
A War Eagle to you.